Welcome to CivilNet. My guest is Katie Verzielen. She is an immigration officer from the Belgium Immigration Office. Thank you for joining us today, Katie.
You're welcome.
Some of our viewers may ask why a Belgian immigration officer is in Armenia, but you are here working with an initiative called Migration Compass, which is an EU-funded program to help raise awareness about migration, legal and illegal migration to Europe. Since independence in 1991, for 23 years, Armenia has been having to tackle issues about migration. There have been alarming numbers of people leaving, and oftentimes, well, I don't know oftentimes, but some of the time they do leave under questionable circumstances without proper visas or residency permits. And because you are from Europe, we will talk only about the European experience here. You're also here training journalists to be able to report about these trends, legal migration, illegal migration, properly, objectively, so that it does help inform the public. Why is it important, in Armenia's case, because this is your second visit to Armenia now, to help raise awareness? What are some of the problems with Armenian immigration to Europe?
I was here in April already to give training to journalists about irregular migration. And I'm here now to give training for legal migration purposes. So to answer your question, it is important to raise awareness amongst the Armenian people, in the first place on the risks of irregular migration, because what we see in Europe and also in Belgium is that a lot of Armenian citizens ask for asylum in our country. And these requests, these applications are not founded, as we say. There is no ground, according to the Convention of Geneva, to give status of refugee.
So just so that it's clear to our viewers, we would have Armenians from Armenia landing in a European country or in Belgium and saying that they are facing political persecution, so they come and ask for asylum. Now, does Europe have standards or regulations? Is Armenia considered to be a stable, politically stable country, and that's why those applications are not being processed or accepted?
The applications have a rate of recognition of almost zero, and that means, per definition, that it is considered to be a safe country, Armenia. Of course, case by case is being examined, but Armenia is, as far as I know, not on a safe list of countries, a list of safe countries, I mean, in all European countries, because also that is up to the European countries to decide and to consider. But anyway, even if it is not on a safe, even if Armenia does not appear on the list of safe countries, the recognition rate is that low that we can assume that the Armenian authorities can be turned to in case of problems. And to add on that, it is clear that the thriving motive for people to move to the European Union is economic reasons and no political reasons.
So it's very curious for me, if an Armenian individual or family arrives in Europe and goes to the proper immigration office to file an application for political asylum, what is the turnaround time? I mean, by the time, because I'm just wondering, if it takes months or years to look at their case, these people have to live, they receive perhaps, differs country to country, social assistance, some housing, then they become integrated by the time their case is heard. So is there an effort to shorten that time between when they actually file the application and when a decision is made?
Of course, there is push and pull factors to consider if we are talking about irregular migration. And one of the pull factors could be in the destination country that you have long procedures. So people are counting on that, and they are thinking that they could benefit in one way or another if they stay, the longer they stay. What we are trying to do is shorten procedures, the handling of an application, to discourage at least that pull factor.
Right. Could you talk to us about what some of the risks are for Armenian individuals, families, for anybody who is, as you term it, irregular migrants living in Europe? What are some of the risks that they face?
Well, it begins with it starts with the beginning of the travel, of the journey. I know by fact that Armenians sometimes sell their apartment, their house, all in order to pay the journey, even perhaps pay someone who facilitates the journey towards the European Union. And it begins there. You have a loss, a financial, extremely important financial loss, without knowing that at the end it will you will not have the status of a refugee. In the beginning they don't know that. So they come to the European Union and then they apply for asylum. In most cases, almost 100%, it is a negative decision, and then it all starts. Then you are irregular. Then you will have to leave the country. Then you have the risk of being exploited, because you will not find a house easily. You can become a victim of slumlords, as if that's the correct word. You will not be able to work. For example, people think that they can work as an asylum seeker, but that's not true. It is only after a long period in the application that you will be able to have a job. But that period is so short, and we have accelerated our procedures, that you will never end up, except for some exceptions, of course, but you will never end up in a situation that you will have to work. So you will have to turn to illegal work, where there's a risk of being caught by the police. If you are, you will have your order to leave the country, and we, in Europe, most countries, we will promote the voluntary return. So we will also inform people how they can return to the country, to Armenia, in a voluntary way. There are some special programs who will support and help people to go back.
Financially as well?
Financially as well. But if people still are reluctant and not willing to give
to leave voluntarily, then the risk is there that they will be put in a detention center, and they will have to, they will be forced to leave.
Բարեկամներս համոզեցին ինձ մեկնել Եվրոպա, օգտագործելով իմ հիվանդությունը։ Ես հասա Եվրոպա եւ անմիջապես հիվանդացա։ Բացատրեցի, որ անհապաղ պետք է բուժվեմ այստեղ։
Ձեր դրությունը այնքան էլ ծանր չէ։ Այս հիվանդությունը կարող եք բուժել նաև ձեր երկրում, ընդ որում պետպատվերով, իսկ այստեղ պետք է վճարեք։
Բուժման ծախսերը ոչ ես, ոչ էլ ինձ հուսադրող բարեկամներս չկարողացանք վճարել։ Իմ վիճակը իսկապես վատացավ։ Ես ստիպված վերադարձա եւ անմիջապես վիրահատվեցի այստեղ երջանիկ ծերություն խոստացող հեռախոսազանգից 2 ամիս անց։
I certainly don't expect you to have numbers right now at the sort of tip of your fingers, but of those annually, I don't know, 5,000, 4,000 Armenians that do depart to Europe claiming political asylum, what is the track record? Are they voluntarily leaving, or are they oftentimes being forced to leave?
Both. There are, yes.
A lot of them are going underground, I'm presuming, as well, for a number of, for a period of time.
You never know. We register the voluntary returns, of course. We register the forced returns, but you never know how many people that have actually left the territory. That you cannot know because they can do it on their own as well.
I was watching a number of public service announcements that were filmed specifically for this initiative, and it was to help Armenians to understand what the legal procedures are, and some of them are very difficult and long, and there's a lot of bureaucracy involved, and then what the risks are if they do end up finding themselves in a European country as illegal or irregular migrants, what some of the risks are. And then now working with the journalists to present this, do you have any kind of, have you done similar work in other countries to see how effective this has been? Once we raise public awareness, does it help stop that flow?
Well, I have experience with other campaigns, information campaigns on the risks of illegal migration, especially in the Balkan countries, Macedonia, Kosovo, Serbia, and it has been Albania as well, and it has been shown effective if you talk about it. I have had a very significant example of even a month later, the figures and the numbers dropped like more than 70%. But of course, it is all depending on the country and on the culture, yes. And I think that repetition of a certain message is at stake here, and it's not because you say it once that people will change their set of minds and they will believe you, and they will. There's also a lot of talk amongst people, and people tend to believe their family and their friends more than an official who is saying the country.
I was just gonna talk about that, because so many times we've heard people say, oh, my brother's there, my sister's there, my cousin is there, and they have a great job and they're living the great life, and they keep telling me to come, I'll find a job. And then you ask the very basic question, how do you plan on getting a visa or long-term residency? Oh, we'll figure it out once I get there. And so they tend to believe their family members, you're right, more than they believe Armenian officials, European officials. And then it ends up in a lot of heartbreak, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Katie, I want to thank you for coming and trying to help us understand a little bit about the process. Hopefully in Armenia we will be able to raise the level of awareness that if people do want to go, they should go prepared. They should go knowing the regulations and the laws of the country where they want to go, and perhaps not to burn all of their bridges.
Yes.
By selling everything off in their home country.
That's a very important message, because if you look at the European Union with 500 million citizens, and you know that 2 million are non-European citizens legally residing in the European Union, and on a yearly basis there are 500,000 people who are on a yearly basis intercepted for illegal stay. We don't have to, how do you say it?
The balance.
The balance is clearly on the legal, which is good. There are a lot of people on a legal basis in the European Union, but 500,000 people is not nothing. So, and it is for those 500,000 people that are ending up in an illegal situation that these kind of campaigns are very essential and important.
Right, and they can end up in potentially dangerous situations. So.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to remind our viewers that my guest today was Katie Verzielen. She is an immigration officer from the Belgian Immigration Office. Stay with CivilNet.